This is CS50. Well, at least it's my final project. Um, I guess I'll get started with the details that the instructions said I absolutely must include. So the title of this project is TrainPASS, a combination of train, as in training, and pass, as in password, passkey, pass is it's not spelled the same way, but pin is included in that too, and I'll explain exactly how that works in a minute. My name is Lee. I'm currently in New York City, although I'm going to be going to school in San Antonio, and I'm in the United States. Okay. So let me just start this up. It's a Flask web application, very similar to finance. In fact, I built it largely on finance and its structure, but I guess we'll see that in a minute. So I'll pull it up here. Okay, so it has me as logging in automatically, but I recreated the database. I emptied the database before running this, so we're going to go through the registration process anyways. So it's just like the finance application. It's the exact same account system. So I am going to be taking the details from here. Don't worry, none of these are my real passwords. They were all generated specially for the purpose of this video. And you'll see what I mean by that in a minute. So this is the password for the application, username and password, and I'm going to copy and paste that in here just to show you the same password. I'm going to register. Okay, so now we're in. Currently the dashboard is empty, but this is the main page of the application. So TrainPASS is a password memorization aid, or an app that contains an aid. The point of using this app is that you input your passwords, and this app prompts you to practice and rehearse those passwords at a regular interval. And this is all going to include the heavy disclaimer not to use your actual passwords. For the purpose of this assignment, I did do everything as properly as I could. Passwords are hashed and everything, but obviously I am not a cybersecurity expert, and I would definitely not recommend anyone put their actual passwords in here. So with that being said, we're going to be using these passwords to see what the process looks like. So I'm going to click on add here, and this was in the menu that will let me add my passwords in. This here was the password for the website, but these are the passwords I'm planning to learn. So the label here is Google. Usually put something like, I don't know, like MySpace account or Google or whatever else you can use as an adequate name, and then you put the password you want to use in there. And hopefully this application will make it much easier for you to learn and memorize the password and reinforce it to have more of a stable foundation in your memory. Add here, and now we can see it. So now we see that the label is Google. It's due in 4 minutes, and it's on 5-minute intervals. So I'm going to put in the next two ones while I'm talking, and it'll save us a bit of time because eventually I'll have to speed up the video. Essentially what the intervals are is it prompts you to rehearse the password after a certain interval. And if you get it correct, that interval will lengthen and lengthen and lengthen until you're rehearsing each password over the span of like months. That way you'll have a solid foundation of the password in your head, but it will be reinforced on occasion as well. And this is great for passwords of things that are extremely important that you might not use very much, like this nuclear arsenal here. I got the idea from how a messaging app called Signal handles its backup pins, and that'll be more in the description. But The idea here is that you learn through reinforcement. So I'm going to speed this up until Google comes due in a couple of minutes, and I'll see you all then. And we're back. The password should almost be due. Just refresh the page. Okay. So currently, you can see how Google is now past due, and that means that this enter passkey field has revealed itself. And this is kind of the point of this app. Now we can re-enter this password, and of course if this wasn't a demo, you'd be typing it out in order to demonstrate memorization or practice memorization of it. But here we're just going to be copying and pasting. And we'll confirm here. And this is what happens if you type it incorrectly. So now, as you can see, it's at the bottom of the list because the interval has now doubled to 10 minutes. And it will keep doing this indefinitely. So you'll be on eventually you'll be on months and years. And by that point, the password will be very well ingrained in your head. But for the next one, phone, let's see what happens if you enter it in wrong. Well, first, so this is what the regular password is. But let's say I change it a little. To be clear, as you can see here, this says PIN. And if you were doing this on a mobile device, then if you were to open this field, it would show as a keypad. But here it's not a difference because it's not mobile, it's just a password field. But this is a wrong password, and when we confirm it, we're going to get an error. Literally directly from finance, we get the cat meme. So we can go back here now, but you'll notice something, that this one still says 5 minutes. Now, if I were doing this over a longer period of time, 5 minutes is the minimum. But say you'd already entered it correctly, say 2 times, and you up to a 20-minute interval. If on the 3rd time you entered it incorrectly, it would go back to 10 minutes. And if you entered it incorrectly again, it would go back to 5. So it's only going to move forward to the next interval once we enter the PIN correctly. There's no way to recover the PINs or passwords from this site because they're hashed. And we'll enter this one in correctly just to demonstrate it's still working. Yeah. There's no way to retrieve them. So if you are using this, then you'd either have to keep them somewhere else or keep them in your head. And that's intentional. That's by design. But what you would do here if you were to either remove one of these passwords because you aren't using it, or you're done with it, or you forgot it and can't get it back, and it's just going to stay on 5 minutes, you can go here and delete it. So you can just open, and these are the labels of all your passwords. We're looking to delete phone, and we can remove it. So yeah, that's most of the function of this app. I guess just the demo, I can log out and the homepage won't work anymore, but if I log back in, it even autofills. I'll be right back. So yes, this was CS50. Goodbye.